The only one who can create a new world is me.
What is up, guys? This is Lucifer here, finally bringing you another deck profile with replays. Today we actually have one of my personal decks that I use all the time. I tried to get it in reality, but you know, XGel went up to $40-something. That's just honestly the price of a cheap deck. But yeah, as you can see, we got DarkLords here, and I gotta say, I put so much time into this deck. I rarely lose with it. In general, really. In singles, it's good because no one really knows how to combat it if you go first, especially. In matches, this deck can be absolutely insane. Yeah, overall, like, this deck does not need the extra deck by any means, but it can help pack a huge punch. And as you can see, this is so far the first build that I've included an actual side deck. So let me just go into a little bit of explanation here. I decided to make my deck a little bit different than the others. As you can see, we have the standard triple X-Tab and triple Superbia. Sorry, X-Gel in the TCG name. But we are running double Fiend and double Christia. I see a lot of people running 3 and 3, and frankly, I don't think it's a good idea. I tried running that, and it was very, very cloggy. I decided to actually drop it down to 2 Fiend and 3 Christia, simply because it's a trade-in target. And it was a lot easier to find allure targets, so I switched the Vanity, which used to be at 3, and the Christia. But regardless, I realized I was still fairly cloggy, so I took out one of the Christias and replaced it with Dark Arm Dragon. Still a allure target, but he is so easy to bring out in this deck. It's absolutely insane, because there's a ton of grave control, and you don't need to bring him out, of course. He's just like a really good card to just bash through defenses. The double pot of desires, as you can see, there's just a ton of draw power in this deck, but I wanted to make this as consistent as possible. It works extremely well. The extra deck you rarely use. Your most used cards are going to be Ravenous Tarantula going into 7 Sins. I rarely use Lancelot, but he's there just for, you know, free negation. Hope Harbinger, of course, he's very easy to bring out. You have the Cypher and Full Armor Photon mini combo here. I decided not to run Dark Matter Dragon, but that's simply because you don't need him. Big Eye simply works together with Mastema and Dark Arm, since chances are you almost always banish one Mastema off Pot of Desires or Allure. I rarely ever make him, but when I do, you know, it helps out a bit. And of course the rest are Cherries targets. On the side deck, we have DarkLord Lucifer. He is really good to side in against ABC because he floods the field. However, he's really easy to search, so of course you only run one. I used to run him in the main, but then I realized that he's best against certain decks and it's much better as a side deck card. Of course, the triple Gameciel, trade-in target, and of course Kaijus are amazing no matter what. Double Lancia for any kind of banishing matchup. The third Twin Twister, I know I skipped a lot over here, but I'll get to that in a bit. The third Twin Twister out of the 2 in the main deck, and the double Anti-Spell, that's mainly because Anti-Spell is good against Pendulums. The third Twin Twister you might need against Paleozoics. So, Ghost Reaper and Lunataries, as you can see, almost half the extra deck is those kinds of targets. I have Nova in here instead of Infinity. That's simply because I feel like if you can stop them from going into Nova, it might be better than stopping them from going to Infinity directly, but that's just me. I know that I used to run Cyber and Dragon just in case they tried to Solemn it as a, you know, little thing to mess with them, but regardless, that's just me. And of course, we have the little text card over here, Bury a Statue of the Abyss. This has won me so many games. If you're ever in a Mermail matchup or any kind of deck that just relies too much on special summoning, and of course it's not DarkLords, this can destroy your opponent. There are so many people that I beat, and you'll see in the replays especially, that I beat simply because they can't special summon. So yeah, that's all I have to say for now. Take a look at the replays. These are among my favorites simply because so many people just don't have outs to Vanities, Fiend, or Christia, and the first turn boards you can make here are extremely easy, and it's just great. I love this deck. So, without further ado, let's get to the replays. Well guys, it seems like we're at that point in the video once again where I will be rating this deck based off of versatility, recovery, difficulty, and consistency in that order. So, let's just jump right into it. For versatility, I have decided to give this deck a 9 out of 10. The reason behind this is because this has easily one of the highest ceilings I've seen in this game for a while. It can OTK, it can control, it has tons of different ways to be played. I've seen people doing OTK DarkLords. It's really just like up to however you want to build it. It has a lot of teching options. Of course, you may trade off a little bit of draw power or consistency to do that, but of course, as you've seen in the replays, that's not always an issue. And there's not much else to say. It's just the fact that this deck can go into crazy exceeds, can go into crazy boards if you wanted to. It's all up to how you want to set up your playstyle with this deck. I may be a little bit biased, but again, this is just some of the plays that you can do with this deck. You can get some crazy strong fields, and just it's generally intimidating seeing your opponent draw that many cards, and it's got such a high ceiling. I don't know what else to say about it. So yeah, for versatility, I've given it a 9 out of 10. For recovery, I have decided to give this deck a 8 out of 10. The reason behind this is because you literally just need 1 out of 6 cards in the deck to recover your graveyard. You can easily have that insane draw power help you out with it. And of course, if you already sided cards in, you could always save yourself a few turns. It's just, this deck can have so much potential. It's not made to be on par with other decks like ABC and stuff. But as you saw with my replay, like, that ABC deck was beaten. Like, it had nothing to do after I had my hand. Yeah, there's really just so much potential in this deck. So, for recovery, I've given it an 8 out of 10. For difficulty, I've decided to give this deck a 7 out of 10. So this is where the deck starts to tilt off a little bit. yes, anyone can pick up this deck and play it, but not everyone can play it right. I've seen so many mistakes made with people on DevPro and in real life, and it genuinely makes me mad to see some of this stuff. People would sometimes search for the wrong things, or this is one of the only decks where you actually want to draw before your search, simply because this deck has insane draw parity, so you want to get what you can in your hand and then search for that crucial piece that you need to complete your combo. It's one of the only decks where I actually would advise to people to use Pot of Desires and then search. But yeah, there's just a lot of mistakes you can make in the deck. It's fairly difficult to play correctly, but then again, so is DDD and even Burning Abyss. But yeah, this deck, again, has a lot of potential once you really get it down. So of course, now we're down to the final point. Consistency. I decided to give this deck a 7 out of 10 and a 9 out of 10. The reason behind this is because the deck in general is not that consistent. It's known for breaking here and there. It's known for not being able to hold its own. It's known for being able to keep up with Tier 1, but be stuck at Tier 2. However, the deck list that I provided above, I rarely brick with. I'm 9 out of 10 times able to get out of stuff. I was able to grind in ranked for a full day. I got up to around 1400, and then my friend got on, some stuff happened. I should not have given him the password to my computer. But yeah, this deck really can pull off some crazy stuff. And nobody has outs to these vanity locks, it's Christia locks. Like, it doesn't matter. It's crazy. So yeah, there's just not much else to say about it. Yeah, that's it.